I'm Katie O'Reilly, host of the KDO's Food Carnival television show. This year on June 30th at the DuPage County Fairgrounds, I'm hosting the first ever Artisan Food Festival, a taste of the state. We are bringing it back to Illinois. The Artisan Food Market will feature artisan food creators of small batch, delicious items for sale to the public, samples, everything. And the restaurants featured all Illinois with their famous menu items. And the culinary stage is not to be missed, with celebrity chefs offering cooking demonstration with kitchen hacks and different tricks that you don't want to miss. And music will fill the air all day with live bands and DJ'd music having some fun. Craft beers rolling right into the evening with some serious blues. And for a little bit more elegant style, join us for our gala. Dining under the stars. 7 courses designed by me. The Artisan Food Market will feature artisan food creators of small batch, delicious items for sale to the public, samples, everything. And the restaurants featured all Illinois with their famous menu items in tasting portions.
Admission is $5 at the gate or free with advance registration. Go to artisanfoodfest.com to get tickets today. Artisan food producers and restaurants may sign up to be a vendor at artisanfoodfest.com or call 773-941-7753 for more information.
Dip my shrimp. Much for joining for tasting time. Hi, I'm Katie O'Reilly and welcome to KDO's Food Carnival. I'm bringing you back into my carnival kitchen because we are doing some summer cooking with KDO. Once again, I'm sticking in Italy because there are amazing recipes. I could just keep going. I've said that before. But some of these we're going to do early. They can cook all day. You can serve them later. Or they're just classic family favorites. Seems simple, but I'm going to give you some tips and tricks. And that's the beauty. There are shortcuts, and then there are things that you're going to want to make sure you do. So let's get cooking, let's get grooving, and let's get eating in the Carnival kitchen. Hi, I'm Katie O'Reilly, and welcome into the Carnival kitchen. Such good cooking. Wait until we get started. Now, Italian is a food type that honestly has so much variety. The country has so many different terrains and environments and absolutely different ingredients, but most of all, they're all delicious and fresh. And today, we're making some that are easy. So let's get going. We first want to start with a really amazing, what they call a tomato gravy, pasta sauce, marinara sauce, whatever you want to call it. There's just one little trick I want to show you on that one. Hi, Katie O, making our Italian sauce, doing some Italian cooking. There is nothing more important than a gorgeous tomato sauce. So start early and make plenty of it. Start with your garlic, your onion, your cans of tomatoes, a little olive oil. If you want to add a little tomato paste, that's up to you. Do Italian seasoning, and then a secret. Let's sink some basil. Let's get some fresh basil on the stem. I want you to put it in whole, just like this. Let it stew and steep in that sauce and infuse it with that basil flavor. But the beauty of being on the stem is once it's done, we can just simply remove it. Therefore, the cooked basil doesn't become leafy and stem-like in your sauce. Your sauce is now smooth and free. So remove those and let's go on cooking. That is gonna be a flavor bomb. And once we have a fabulous sauce made, and I say make a big pot of it because it's gonna go on everything in some variety or another. Once we have that made, we can go into a lot of different directions. And one of them that I love is to cream it out with a little sausage and pea. Check that out. This is one of my favorites. I have just sauteed up and crisped up. See how nice and crisp. I drained all the fat from my sausage. So, I mean, a little bit of oil, but not much. Just a cup or so of frozen peas. It depends on how much you like peas. There's a nice earthiness. So add what you want. I love peas, so I'm just going to go ahead and add them all. Stir that around. Those are just defrosted frozen peas that you buy in your freezer section. No need to get fancy. This is a real easy dish. Then for the sauce, what I've done is I've taken some of that amazing tomato sauce that we made earlier, and I added cream to it. So a heavy cream, cooked it down. Right now, it's off to the side. I'm going to add this to the pasta, or to the sausage and peas, the desired amount. Keep that nicely. See that? That is beautiful. I like sauce, so I'm going to keep adding and making sure everything is coated. You can make it as chunky or as light as you want. So right now I'm adding 4 cups. Okay. Now that this is all heating and stirring and mulling together, once again, we're going to practice that technique. Let's add our pasta. You can use any shaped pasta that you want, but let's add our warm al dente pasta right into the pan and smother it in the sauce. Add slowly so you don't have, like, your ratios are right, so you have enough pasta to sauce and it's making sense to you. Usually I know my quantities and what I'm cooking, so I have it pretty much measured out, but for your purposes, you decide how much you need, how many servings you're making, and then make your desired amount. And of course, if you want leftovers, this is delicious. But this is gonna absorb beautifully, and we're good to go. It is bright, but then meaty. The peas are earthy, and that tomato cream sauce, gets us going every time. I love it with penne. It fills that tube up, and you get so much sauce in every bite. So, amazing. Yum. Very typically, my family will love the go-to meal is spaghetti and meatballs with just that red sauce. How easy are meatballs to make? Let me show you. Let's make them together. Hi, Katie O, Carnival Kitchen. We are making meatballs. How cool is this? Everybody has their secret recipe, but if you don't, jump in, share mine, because I love homemade meatballs. And once you make them, I'm going to tell you a secret. You can make them at the beginning of the week. You can put them in a bag. You can freeze them. You can use them all week. There's so many different ways you can use meatballs. You can even make them into a meatball sub if you're trying to do something different. But right now, we're making the meatball meat. I have got 1 pound of beef ground up, and I like a leaner version of my beef, so I would say no more fat than 15% for this recipe, because we're about to add also some ground pork, which we all know has a little bit more fat in it, but it's going to add a good flavor balance. You can do veal, you can do any combination, but do a little combination in there. Now I've got about a half a cup of Italian breadcrumbs I'm adding. Just 2 tablespoons of olive oil, good quality olive oil. I love my organic olive oil, and that is Villa Graziella, and it's out of Tuscany, and they have amazing products, and the people who make it, they make the wine over here, they make everything, and they are so nice, and their process is pure, and it's good for the environment, but most importantly, I love olive oil, and it has to have a smooth finish for me, and that's a delicious one. So if you find it, go get it. About 1/3 cup of Parmesan cheese. Not too much more than that because we don't want it to get salty. A little hint of red pepper, if you please. Secret little spiciness that nobody's going to pick up too much on. I've got a half a cup of milk. Yeah? I would say use 2% whole milk, something like that. Now we're getting into our teaspoon of ground garlic. Love it. We've got dried oregano, just a teaspoon, pinch, couple pinches, whatever you got going on there. That's fine. I have some, oops, lost my spoon. I have some beautiful fresh chopped parsley. I know it sounds like a lot of ingredients, but the truth is once they're made, the flavor profile is delightful. chopped onion, you decide how much. I've got about 3/4 of a cup. And last but not least, we have, well actually it's not last, pinch of salt and pepper combination. I've combined them. 2 eggs. Now that's an essential ingredient for the binder. Crack. Nice. All right, if you want to, another secret ingredient, very optional, let's do 2 teaspoons, actually 3 of our Italian sauce that we made. Hands. If you don't like to get your hands dirty, go grab your latex kitchen gloves because we are about to get gooey in our mixture and we're doing it together. Let's see how easy this is. This is fun. This is, oh, feel the love of the meatball. It's wet, it's moist, we're mixing it so well. And you know, we're about to keep our hands in this mixture. If you feel your mixture's too wet, add a little bit more dry breadcrumbs. That's a good binder, but you know what? They bake up nice and moist. So we've just mixed all those ingredients together. Oh, yes. And I'm gonna demo just one little ball here because I want you to see about the size. Mine's a little wet, so if I had clean hands, I'd add maybe a little more breadcrumbs, but for purpose of the show, I'm just gonna go ahead and show you right there. That's perfect. You can go smaller, larger. At that size, you're gonna stick them in a 350-degree oven, and you're gonna go for about 35 minutes. They're beautiful. Now for this tray, I've made them a little smaller, so this only took me about 25 minutes to bake. You decide on the size and who your audience is, but basically you got a killer meatball. And it's so amazing. But I will say, in my family, they really like their sauce on top of their spaghetti. So, you know, dealing with kids, just go with what they like. Go with what you know. And keep it simple, straightforward, and recognizable. I wouldn't even put that green on there for them. I just put a little sprinkling of cheese and let them go at it. So that's amazing, simple, everything. Now, then we go into, let's see, I think I want to take you into different pasta shapes because they scream at us different things. In macaroni and cheese, the elbow-shaped pasta just screams and says, eat me on macaroni and cheese, but make me creamy and delicious every time. And believe it or not, this recipe is in my cookbook. That's a lifesaver in many families. Everybody loves that. We go into another amazing creamy sauce when we go into Alfredo. And it's phenomenal. These bow ties with Alfredo, a little trick to cooking with your pasta and your sauce. And I want to show you an at-home tip that is really important. It's adding your al dente cooked pasta into your sauce. You hear about it quite often. See, I've got my Alfredo nice and warmed and all together thin. And what I want to do is I've cooked my bow tie pasta to an al dente level, taken it out of the water so it is drained. Don't forget to salt your water when you're boiling your pasta. And here we go. We're going to add the pasta right into the sauce. And you're going to see that it gets nice and covered. I want to do it slowly so I don't have too much pasta or too much sauce. Make sure your ratios are proper. Look at that. We want to cover it all. It's going to absorb that sauce because both products are warm. It's going to suck it into the pores. You're going to taste it so beautifully. Everyone, especially yourself, is going to have a delightful dining experience. This is a simple technique that you hear about in the cooking shows, but you don't realize it until you try it at home. So definitely do this one. And what I've paired that with on this plate is a broccoli, rabe, and butternut squash lasagna. The little of that Alfredo sauce and some fresh asparagus. What I've got going on, and that's vegetarian, so fabulous for your vegetarians. But let me show you how easy it is to make a meat lasagna. There are so many cool steps to making it delicious and friendly for the entire family. And once you make it, it saves, it freezes, and it feeds everybody. Check it out. Let's make it together. And so many people do not want to even delve into lasagna. Come join me. Come join me. It's not that hard. And once it's made, you can kind of freeze your lasagna. You can make it earlier, cook it the next day. It doesn't matter. But this is what we're going to do. We have an Italian sauce made. We've already made our Italian sauce. It's nice and delicious with that basil tip that we had. We're gonna start with a base of sauce. I'm actually gonna build it with you because I want you to see it. So we are gonna base that sauce, not a real science, just covering the bottom. Okay, where do we go from here? These noodles, right? They're called oven-ready noodles. You do not have to cook them in advance. Save yourself the step. I didn't even believe it at first. You can find them at the store. They're oven ready and they get beautiful when you're finished. Layer of noodles. Now lasagna is kind of a personal preference, so if you like more or less of an ingredient, do that for you and your family. Like my kids don't like quite as much ricotta cheese, but my husband and I love it. You do half with a little bit more ricotta. You can break up your noodles, layer them, but everybody likes a good amount of noodles, so do that. Let's then go to a base of our meat. Now, I've got a secret of flavoring each layer of the ingredient, and let's go see how I made this meat. Got a couple of tips and tricks I want to show you. I'm using ground turkey, but it doesn't matter if you're using pork or beef, whatever you're using, you're going to want to saute it up in advance. Add some Italian seasonings to your meat so it gets the flavor infused into the meat. And also with a flat, I love these flat spatulas. You can break up any clumps you might get so easily and just chop those so they're nice and bite-sized. So once we have that going on, one of my secrets is I like to take that gorgeous tomato sauce that we've made and add some into the meat. That'll season it even deeper with Italian flavor and kind of make it sort of seasoned and lacquered and caramelized onto that meat, so when it's in your lasagna you have a bright burst of flavor and nothing seems flat. You want flavor in every layer of your lasagna. It's gonna be delicious. All right, so now we've got it. It's nice and luxurious, and I like, especially because it's turkey, ground turkey, I'm going to put plenty on there. And you'll see, we're going for gold on this lasagna. Everybody likes a bite with something in it, and everybody likes a lot of flavor, so don't be shy. It's going to be delicious. Let's get that going on, spread out all over, but like I said, you're just building a little masterpiece. Don't get too stressed out. They're not exact science. Just make it. Feel good about yourself when you're making it. Another layer of those lasagna noodles. Everybody likes their noodles, and this is the best part of working with these noodles. They're so easy. You're not stringing it along or doing anything crazy. All right, I'm gonna get a little more meat in here. I'm noticing some empty pieces. My family does not like that, so go back and make up for lost time on that one before you make that mistake. Okay, we are good. Sauce again. Okay, layering it with sauce. This is going to be so good. You know, I'm such a glutton that I could layer like this thick, but we don't have the room, as you see. So I'm going to have to kind of consolidate just a touch. Ricotta. Do you notice that my ricotta is green? And why do you think it's green? Let's see. I'm working with ricotta right now, and I like to layer each element of the lasagna. I like to flavor it individually. So starting with our ricotta, it's no exception. I use a pesto because pesto has enough bang for the buck that is going to infuse flavor throughout every bite. Now, what is pesto? So many people are confused because I use pesto a lot. It's fresh basil, olive oil, pine nuts, and Parmesan, all whisked together. And the beautiful thing is, you can add some garlic to that if you'd like. The beautiful thing is that if you grow basil in the summer and you have tons and tons of it, if you just whisk up your basil and your olive oil together, you can freeze it and then make your pesto in the middle of winter. Good tip. Don't add the cheese and the pine nuts until you're ready to use it because those don't freeze real well. However, getting back to our ricotta, let's just do 2 nice sized tablespoons into this big bowl. And I'm going to do a touch of extra Parmesan cheese because I like that, and I'm going to say two nibs of the Parm. And let's do some fresh ground black pepper. Oh, yummy. Stir that all together, and we are going to have a delicious flavored ricotta to layer in our lasagna. And now that you've seen my trick on this ricotta, you know what I mean. It is going to be delicious. Nice thick layer, flavored with that pesto. It's going to be that creamy bite everybody's looking for. And where then do we come in with a little mozzarella, provolone, any other Italian cheeses for that ooey gooey factor? Mostly on top. That's what I usually do. You can do it right on your ricotta if you want to have another layer. It depends on how much you like cheese, like I said. Just smooth it out. It's perfect if it blends a little bit with that sauce. But I'm going to say this. Let's do maybe another layering of sauce because that's yummy and zesty in there. And then we're going to top it off. More lasagna noodles. Okay, you feeling me on this? Following my lead? Not an exact science, like I said. I like to break those ends a little. Need a little shortening. Okay, and the finale. Sauce. Right? And provolone or sliced mozzarella, whichever Italian cheese you like. If you like something more aged, do that. And a little sprinkling of Parmesan on top of your sauce is always good. So get that going on. Add those Italian flavors. Layer up that sauce all into the corners. I don't know why I kind of skipped that corner, but I did. So make sure you have plenty. You can always add sauce after, but this is a real finale. Nice, gorgeous layer. Oh, yum. Your family is going to love you. And like I said, you can actually freeze this and take it out, and it's going to be just like you made it that day. Because it cooks in the oven, covered for about 60 minutes, then uncover it and go another 20 so this cheese gets brown. But if you don't cover it at first, it's going to brown too fast, and you're not going to have enough. Let me get a touch more of that cheese and keep going with that because I want it to be perfect. Now, couple options for you. Fresh mozzarella. Another little layering of pesto if you want a little dollop. You decide. It's a flavor bomb. But fresh mozzarella can be layered in on top of this as well. And when you bake it, it'll just ooze right in. Be free. So now that we know how easy it is to make and you've seen how big it is, it can feed the entire family. So whether you're a vegetarian or a meat eater, oh, that is a homey treat. So bright and delicious with the hearty meaty and the flavors in every level. Make your palate sing. I love the broccoli rabe and butternut squash lasagna as well, and I would love to share that recipe with you on my website. Alfredo sauce, if done right, is super delicious. And one of the tricks is, if you don't want to make it yourself, go buy a nice product, add some fresh, beautiful herbs to it and some garlic, and you are good to go. So, there's always shortcuts to be had. This lamb shank is easier than you think, and you can make it early. Stick it in your Dutch oven and throw it in the oven so easily, and I've served it over polenta. Let me show you how to use a Dutch oven and make lamb shank. And I'm teaching you about a Dutch oven. Now, I'm only going to cook for this purpose 1 lamb shank, but I'm going to treat the portions as though you were making 4, 5, maybe 6, depending on the size of the lamb shank. This is a 6-ounce lamb shank, and you can see I've just put a little salt and pepper onto it. This is raw. I'm going to put it in our searing hot cast iron Dutch oven. It's going to smoke a bit, but we want it to do that. We just want to caramelize and sear up that outside. Got a little oil if you want to add a little oil to it. But if you can see, the pan itself is already glossy. And the importance of that is when you have a Dutch oven, you never want to wash it with soap. What you want to do is wipe it and wash it just with water so it's nice and clean. But you want that seasoning to build up This is an inherited generational Dutch oven, and the flavors are infused right into that cast iron. Once it's dry, lacquer it with a little oil and put it away clean. See how nice and brown our lamb shank is getting? Just searing the outside. Get that side, put it on its side. All right, now this is what we're gonna do in addition to that, and this is how you slow cook something in a Dutch oven. I'm gonna add the rest of my oil, which was really just a tablespoon and a half. I've got about a half a cup of onion, carrot, and celery. You decide how much you want. It's not an exact science, but we're putting it right in a hot. We're gonna just caramelize that with our lamb shank just for a minute. We're gonna add a strong full teaspoon of garlic, chopped garlic. We're gonna add a cup of canned diced tomatoes. We're going to add, well, what do you think? About a quarter cup, third of a cup of white wine. I don't think that's an exact science. You decide how much you want on that. And then salt and pepper. Let's add about 3 pinches. And then look at this gorgeous rosemary sprig. Do you see that? We're going to stew this all up and make sure it's all mixed nicely together. And like I said, you're going to have about 4, maybe 5, 6 of these lamb shanks, depending on what fits in your Dutch oven. But this time we only have 1. We know it's raw inside, and we're going to just sink that gorgeous rosemary sprig, stem and all. I'm going to cover. I'm going to place in my 350-degree oven and let it cook for a good 2 hours until it's nice and falling apart tender. In between, you might want to check the moisture levels, make sure it's still moist. Always add a little broth or water. It comes out so beautifully tender that you can either make it into a ragu by taking it off the bone and mixing it in with all those veggies and that beautiful juices of that lamb that you just braised down. And what do we want to do? Or you can leave it on the shank. Either way, what do we want to do? We want to pair it or bed it with polenta, a soft, creamy polenta, which is basically a cornmeal that we cook down. Let me share my recipe with you. What I want you to see is that I've added I started with about 4.5 cups of chicken broth to 1 cup of polenta, stirring it in occasionally so it gets nice and thick. And when you add the polenta, you want to add it very, very slowly so it doesn't clump up. If you need to add a little bit more liquid, you always can. You want it in a nice low to medium heat, stirring constantly. Now, general rule for cooking time, polenta. If it's a coarse ground polenta, you want about 40 minutes on the stove top. And if it is a quick instant polenta, what you want to do is about 15 minutes, stirring constantly with your whisk so you decide how much time you want to take. See how nice and smooth that is? Then, as we finish up, what we want to do is cover. It will stay warm on a low heat for a good solid 20 minutes. And it's so smooth and decadent. I have the ragu that I'm trying here, but I like it on the bone too, both ways. That is Italy all the way. Well, how do we bring the grill into this? Because grill screams summer. I have just olive oiled all varieties of vegetables. Asparagus, squash, zucchini, peppers, onions, scallions, eggplant, tomatoes. Make an array. It's your veggie platter that screams Italian fiesta all the way. This is a full-blown family meal, and it's like your garden. Everything that grows in your garden or your farmer's market or whatever you have left in the fridge, throw it on the grill. Get some flavor. I love fennel. You could do a balsamic or a little vinaigrette drizzle on it or nothing at all, just salt and pepper. Grill your bread. It's incredibly rustic. Thanks for sharing with me. I love our time together. I love to keep cooking with you, and I'll be back next week. Thanks for joining.